This week on Siskel and Ebert, Angela Bassett and Whoopi Goldberg hit the beach in How Stella Got Her Groove Back.
Vince Vaughn and Anne Heche schemed to save Joaquin Phoenix in Return to Paradise.
And Nicolas Cage teams up with Gary Sinise to solve a murder in Snake Eyes.
Going to the pajama disco tonight?
The what?
I would like to dance with you.
Angela Bassett is a stockbroker who trades the world of high finance for a fast track to love in How Stella Got Her Groove Back. It's one of 5 new movies we'll be reviewing this week on Siskel and Ebert, including The Rat Pack, a new cable movie about Frank Sinatra and his pals. I'm Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times.
And I'm Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune. Our first movie is called How Stella Got Her Groove Back, meaning how Stella, a lonely, very attractive divorced mother played by Angela Bassett, put her life back together. But after seeing this sometimes entertaining film, I have no idea how Stella got her groove back. The pain and pleasure she experiences just seems so arbitrary. It's like it's totally up to the whim of the director and the screenwriter. There's no logic to what happens in this film. Right up front, Stella is told by her sisters that she needs a man in her life.
You need a husband and your son needs a father.
Had one, got rid of him. So glad I did. And the last time I checked, Walter was still Quincy's father, in case you've forgotten.
Whoopi Goldberg plays her best friend and has similar advice, encouraging Stella to take a vacation in Jamaica.
That's easy for you to say. They got tons of package trips from New York, but since it's so last minute, I gotta pay full fare.
Oh, look, don't even go there. Don't be cheap, because you make enough money to do this, and you're worth it. And even if you ain't, I am. So we're going to Jamaica. Once in the Caribbean, Stella finds quite the man, a true hunk named Winston. He's played by a charismatic newcomer, Taye Diggs.
She makes me wanna
But there's trouble in paradise because Bassett is twice as old as he is. He's 20, she's 40.
But honey, that boy is cute.
Who? Mr. Jailbait Hip Hop?
Mm-hmm. I watched him dance for about 2 hours. Girl, if he moves that good with his clothes on. Woo. And y'all make a cute couple.
Girl, all I did was dance with him.
All night long.
This isn't much of a compliment, but the most attractive elements of How Stella Got Her Groove Back are Angela Bassett's muscular shoulders and Taye Diggs' pectorals. These are truly beautiful people. I just wish they had more to say to us and to each other. So, marginally, thumb down for me.
Well, you know, they have beautiful faces, too, and great voices. I mean, they are very attractive people, and we want them to get together with each other, but there's nothing in the screenplay to explain why these people would feel that they actually have a future, and I feel that question was never answered. The conflict with the family, with his parents, it's handled so badly. His parents disapprove, but it's just handled with, here are the parents, and the mother comes up with a very cruel line, and then that's it. There's no character development, there's no exploration of that kind of thing. And at the end, it's a happy ending only by fiat. Yeah.
Got it. And these two people, well, obviously, the screenplay needed another run-through or 2 run-throughs. The typewriter.
It needs to be tightened up. It moves slowly. You kind of know what's going to happen next. And the Whoopi Goldberg subplot, you know, first of all, you know what's going to happen, and secondly, you really wonder why it's necessary.
Boy, we saw the exact same picture.
Okay, next film, and our next movie is an intriguing thriller named Return to Paradise, about a moral dilemma. As the movie opens, 3 young Americans meet in Malaysia and enjoy a holiday of drugs, booze, and women. They're played by Vince Vaughn, David Conrad, and Joaquin Phoenix. Then the first 2 men return to New York, and the third is arrested and charged with possession of all their drugs, enough to earn him a death sentence. In New York, his advocate, played by Anne Heche, explains to Vaughn why she wants him and the other man to return to Malaysia and admit that some of the dope was theirs.
What about me and Tony? What happens to us?
Well, the deal was that if both of you go back, it's 3 years apiece. And if only one of you goes back at 6.
You're talking about 3 years in prison, lady. 6 years in prison.
Sheriff, let me make this clear to you. In Malaysia, dealers get death.
So you're telling me in 8 days from now...
Louis McBride is going to hang.
Well, what would you do? It's not an easy decision. In mathematics, this is known as the prisoner's dilemma.
I don't expect you to do this without some sort of compensation. Both of Louis's parents have passed on. They left a little something. How does $50,000 sound?
$50,000? That sounds fine. Just fine. But for each year, $50,000 a year.
Return to Paradise plays fair with the difficult moral choice that it sets for its characters. It doesn't just dissolve into one of those frustrating action endings that kills everybody and solves everything allegedly but explains nothing. Instead, each of the characters has to find a way to live with the consequences of his behavior and decision, and along the way, an amazing amount of suspense is developed. Anne Heche and Vince Vaughn are the key characters, and they develop a relationship in which what they feel like doing and what they ought to do may not be quite the same thing. This is a thoughtful, skillful movie.
Well, and I liked it on the basis of those two characters. The Vince Vaughn character is richly written, thoughtfully played. Anne Heche is just simply, continues to be one of the most interesting,
yes, she is,
energetic, thoughtful actresses around. I just like her in everything she does. But the Vaughn character surprised me because that could have been, he could have played it as a punk. And no, you feel the dilemma that he is experiencing.
And you know, I said this is a problem in math. It is. The prisoner's dilemma is when if you and another guy together agree to do something, both of you will do okay, but if you trick him into doing all of it, then you can get off scot-free. But if you both trick each other, then you both lose. It's a very interesting logical problem that you're looking at me like I'm crazy, but no, in the area of Darwinian evolution and the area of philosophy and math, they're running computer programs on this all the time, and here is a movie that dramatizes in real life that very dilemma.
Actually, I was looking at you like I was waiting for the next commercial to come up.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe it will now. Who knows? Coming up later in the show, the Rat Pack, the inside story of Frank, Sammy, Dino, and the Kennedy clan.
High hopes, he's got high hopes.
And coming up next, Nicolas Cage is a cop on the edge of a conspiracy in Snake Eyes.
There were 2 hits. The girl next to me, she threatened him, took something, got shot, and ran away.
Nicolas Cage plays an Atlantic City detective investigating the murder of a cabinet member during a boxing match in Snake Eyes. And this is a film that succeeds, I think, primarily on the strength and charisma of its actors. A point worth noting because the movie was directed by the very talented and stylish Brian De Palma, who is rarely upstaged by his actors. At the fight, before shots have been fired, Detective Cage gets some straight talk from his very best friend, a Navy commander played by another first-rate actor, Gary Sinise.
You got to get out of this town. You know that, don't you?
Would you stop going all Jiminy Cricket on me? You can't help yourself,
Oh,
can you?
really? I mean, get your butt down to D.C. I call a few guys I know from Annapolis, arrange some interviews, get your GS rating, you're in our program. Bureau of Diplomatic Security pays about double what your salary is here, and the money's clean. Rick.
All right. You got to fix my life later. I got money on this. I want to stay in a good mood, you know, keep positive, because this is fight night.
After an assassin's bullet mortally wounds the United States Secretary of Defense, whom Sinise was assigned to protect, both he and Cage try to chase the killer, as well as a mysterious woman who was talking to the Defense Secretary just before he was shot. She is played by Carla Gugino.
Change of plans. They're at the elevators. Hang a right.
Wait a minute.
Gary Sinise looks as though he bulked up for this role, or maybe it's just the uniform, but it gives him a commanding presence on film, a leading man quality I haven't seen before from him, and allows him to match up well with the high-energy Nicolas Cage.
Sam, now I'm betting that the redhead you follow is the same person who told Tyler to throw the fight. She's 1, Shooter's 2, Tyler's 3. The drunk who shouted the signal is 4, and whoever was on the other end of that radio is 5. 5 people make a conspiracy, right?
Snake Eyes doesn't add up to much. Most of the time, the story is forgettable, even when the honesty of the main characters is questioned. No, when I think of Snake Eyes, I don't think of a story. I think of 2 very fine actors working hard, very hard, without a net to entertain us.
Well, I'm afraid I can't give this movie thumbs up, and I'll tell you why. I think about 45 minutes into it, it just loses the thread. The opening of this film is terrific.
Sure.
There is a shot at the beginning of this film that I'm not even going to go into detail about, that I could just look at 3 or 4 times in a row just with sheer voluptuous pleasure. And the entire setup is terrific, and then the ending of the film, frankly, is ludicrous. When they have one of these totally absurd manufactured confrontations out in the middle of a hurricane where the police and the suspects and the good guys and the bad guys and the victims all turn up at the same time and say exactly what they have to say, and you say, come on, this is the kind of action climax I was talking about that the previous film didn't have.
Yeah, I don't think anyone really cares about the climax of this story. I mean, really.
Except that it's absurd, it's laughable.
Yeah.
It's so bad that it just undermines, it pulls the rug out from the rest of the film.
But Roger, what about these 2 performances?
Oh, Nicolas Cage, very good until the end when it's all overwrought because the writing just sabotages the acting.
And did you experience the same thing about Sinise that I did, that he was stronger than I've seen him before?
He was very good in this film, yes. But
I mean,
once
he's been
again,
good
by
before.
the end of the film, it just all goes to pieces.
All right, split vote, I guess. When we come back, Frank Sinatra, the mob, and the election of JFK in the new movie, The Rat Pack.
You're getting sleepy. Very sleepy. No, wait. You're getting hungry. Very hungry.
Feed your late-night craving with Gorditas. Warm, hearty flatbread, a blend of 3 cheeses, and your choice of mouth-watering salsas. Just 99 cents each.
Could you believe him? He's the only guy in the world who could say no to me, and I gotta tell you, I still love him.
Hey, I can say no to you.
I know, but I don't love you when you do.
The guy who says he can say no to Sinatra there is Chicago mob boss Sam Momo Giancana, one of the many colorful characters populating The Rat Pack, an HBO made-for-cable movie that focuses on the years right around the election of President John F. Kennedy in 1960, an election, according to this movie, that Frank Sinatra and his friends, some of them shady, had a lot to do with. The movie stars Ray Liotta as Sinatra. He doesn't really look much like Frank, but after a while, that doesn't matter because we get interested in the behind-the-scenes nitty-gritty, which the movie dishes up with both hands and complete abandon. Sinatra is a hero worshiper when it comes to JFK, and although he dislikes Peter Lawford, he changes his tune after the British actor marries Kennedy's sister, Patricia.
I don't speak to your old man, you know.
Oh, yes, I know. He's very scared of you. But that's changed since I've married him. I've transformed him.
Into what?
Into a Kennedy, of course.
The movie dramatizes much of the gossip we've heard about Sinatra, including the story that he introduced a call girl named Judith Campbell to the president.
Who's the one who looks like Elizabeth Taylor?
I had a feeling. That's Judy Campbell. She looks like Elizabeth Taylor, only better. You don't have to marry her to sleep with her.
Don Cheadle does a convincing job of playing Sammy Davis Jr., who in this scene tells Sinatra of his plans to marry the Swedish actress Mai Britt.
They're gonna crucify you.
Yeah, I know.
Is she up for it?
Well, she says she is. She just wanted to know why I haven't asked her to convert, you know, to become a you-ish. Told her we'd see about that when she learns how to say the J sound, babe.
Joe Mantegna plays Dean Martin, who was a laid-back enigma from beginning to end. Dino could say no to Sinatra and even to the Mafia.
You realize that this request comes from Momo himself?
What, I got stupid all of a sudden? Besides, I'm booked into Cal Neva in October. Ain't that enough?
Cal Neva's got nothing to do with Sam.
Oh, yeah. And Jerry and I are still an act.
A movie like The Rat Pack has qualities that have nothing to do, really, with how good of a movie it is. It's fascinating just because it promises to deliver the lowdown on Sinatra, and it does. And Sinatra actually comes across here as a nice guy, not a saint, but nice and loyal to his friends. The bad guys are Bobby Kennedy and his father, Joe, for doing everything they could to keep the president away from the chairman of the board. The movie plays on HBO starting August the 22nd, and while it's not a cinematic masterpiece, it is compulsively watchable. I was interested in every single development.
You bet. And we ought to point out that we were lucky. We saw this differently than the way most people are going to see this picture. We saw it projected in a theatrical setting, and I enjoyed it. There were a couple of shots that, you say it's not a cinematic masterpiece. Of course it isn't. But there were a couple of shots that were pretty good in the film. A camera movement while Sinatra was singing that communicated some of the energy that I liked about it. Let's do a test. Which character do you think was best embodied by an actor.
Well, the most interesting character to me was Dean Martin, and I know that
agree.
Martin Scorsese is thinking about doing a biopic about Martin, and on the basis of this film, I'm even more fascinated. It turns out, apparently, Dean Martin was a much different person than anybody thinks he was.
I've read the book on which Scorsese is going to do his book, Nick Tasha's book, Dino, and and this film hints at it. I want to see the other one too.
But who else? Who did you like? Maybe Don Cheadle, right?
No, I say Joe Mantegna really created a very good character. He has the most interesting character possibly in Dean Martin, and that was the performance that I liked the best.
I also thought there were a lot of interesting insights into Sammy Davis Jr., though, in Cheadle's performance.
He's
including his wife saying, "Why do you let them treat you like that?" And he's saying, "I'm the first one around the track. If I can get around, the others behind me will get around a little more easily."
Okay. Well, look, this is pulp nonfiction, and I ate it all up. Okay, next movie. And our next film is a new documentary called Full Tilt Boogie, about the making of Robert Rodriguez's outrageous vampire western From Dusk Till Dawn, made in 1996. And even though it's only August, this is the winner for the most self-indulgent movie of the year. Full Tilt Boogie teaches us absolutely nothing about movie making. Instead, judging from this behind-the-scenes footage, you'd think that making a film is all just an excuse to have a party. Here one thrown by Rodriguez and his stars and Quentin Tarantino.
We were gonna get 3 kegs of beer. And then somebody in the grip department said, no, 2 kegs will be fine. A grip said 2 kegs will be fine. No, yeah. The producers are buying 3 kegs and a grip. Who? I don't know. Crash knows. Who was there? I'll find out. I thought it was you. Oh, God, no.
Filmmaking 101. Get the beer order right. Forget about learning anything from the director. The depth of insight about him and his goals is on the level of a music video here. Nowhere in this movie we get a sense of the filmmaker's vision or artistic approach.
Thank you, everybody. Great first day. Thank you. See y'all tomorrow.
As for his actors, here's what we learn about co-star George Clooney in an interview with his personal assistant.
That BMW you're driving, part of the package to make George Clooney's assistant?
Well, you know, George makes a lot of money, and I get all the perks.
What is particularly sad about Full Tilt Boogie is the missed opportunity it represents for a young filmmaker to show his or her stuff while mixing it up with some of the leading lights of the American independent filmmaking movement. As it now plays, Full Tilt Boogie, I'm sad to say, is a waste of film stock.
You know, one of the problems for the director, Sarah Kelly, may have been that she didn't have access because, first of all, you never see Salma Hayek in this movie, and she was one of the stars, but she apparently just didn't want to be interviewed. And Clooney and the other stars, Juliette Lewis, are hardly there at all, or they're doing behind-the-scenes hijinks.
Yeah, you just get cover footage.
Tarantino loves to show off in front of the camera, but he doesn't give away anything either. Rodriguez is busy most of the time, and she's reduced to covering things like the grips have a contest as to who has the best behind. It's like a groupie movie, you know, where the person really wasn't on the inside, didn't really have the cooperation of the stars, of the key people, and so just interviewed the crew.
Well, she shouldn't have taken on the assignment because, again, working with these people raises her profile a lot. Missed opportunity.
Okay, coming up next, our video pick of the week. One of the original Rat Pack movies, a caper film featuring the whole gang let loose in Las Vegas.
Day after tomorrow, gentlemen, we'll be in Las Vegas.
Siskel and Ebert's Video Pick of the Week is brought to you by Nestle Raisinets. At the movies or at home, Raisinets.
And my pick this week, inspired by the Rat Pack film on HBO that we've been talking about, is Ocean's 11, a most entertaining caper film from 1960, featuring all of the Rat Packers themselves: Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., Peter Lawford, Joey Bishop, and their gal pal, Shirley MacLaine, who joined together to pull off a massive, simultaneous heist of about a half-dozen Vegas casinos.
1 minute and 38 seconds after midnight, we black out the whole town and hit the 5 casinos at the same time. Sahara, Riviera, Desert Inn, the Sands, and the Flamingo. Nobody will even see us.
Also entertaining is the natural camaraderie among the cast that lets us feel like we're backstage at one of their shows.
I think I'll buy me some votes and go into politics. Hey, now that's a good idea, baby boy. You'd make a good notary public. He'd make a better coroner, one of them laughing coroners.
I very distinctly remember seeing Ocean's 11 as a teenager and really enjoying it then. I've seen it since, and it still holds up as a caper film and as a cultural document now. Of course, I have no idea what they were probably doing at night during the filming. For that, you have to see the Rat Pack on HBO. Ocean's 11, my video pick of the week.
Now let's take another look at the movies we reviewed on this week's show. 2 thumbs down on How Stella Got Her Groove Back, despite the good performances by Angela Bassett and Taye Diggs. But 2 thumbs up for Return to Paradise with Vince Vaughn and Anne Heche. We split on Brian De Palma's Snake Eyes. I thought the movie fell apart at the end, but Gene thought Nicolas Cage and Gary Sinise did compelling work enough to recommend the film. 2 thumbs up for The Rat Pack with Ray Liotta and Joe Mantegna heading a terrific cast. The film airs on HBO beginning August the 22nd. And finally, 2 thumbs down, way down, for the boring and trivial documentary Full Tilt Boogie. So remember, you can hear our reviews on the web at Siskel-Ebert.com. Next week, we'll be back with a special show that examines the funny business of Jim Carrey. Spookin'! From his hits like Ace Ventura to this summer's The Truman Show. Jim Carrey, Class Clown, next week. And until then, the balcony is closed.